Chosen one. You did not click on this video by preference or curiosity. Heaven pulled you here. You are standing in a moment written into your prophetic scroll long before you ever felt the urge to stay home, long before the world mislabeled your solitude. What you call not wanting to go out is not avoidance. It is alignment. It is the quiet signal that your kairos hour has begun. Anointed one, this is the moment when the sealed parts of your destiny begin to unroll. The timing you're stepping into is not random. It is the divine appointment spoken of in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. For the vision awaits an appointed time, and that appointed time has now arrived. Heaven's clock has struck. Something written over your life years ago, decades ago, perhaps generations ago, is stirring awake. You are standing at the threshold of a revelation that could shift your inner world today, tonight, or in the coming hours. Chosen one. The solitude you've been feeling is not isolation. It is consecration, a sacred preparation, a summoning. As we begin, open your spirit. This is an invocation, a divine unlocking. Expect transformation in your mind, your atmosphere, and the hidden places of your calling. The kairos moment crafted specifically for you is here. Chosen one, breathe for a moment. Before we go deeper, let me tell you something sacred, something few ever hear spoken aloud. Your desire to stay home is not a flaw. It is a frequency, a summoning, a divine pull from the realm that wrote your destiny long before you entered time. This isn't about introversion. This isn't about social exhaustion. This is about kairos alignment, the moment when heaven begins to separate those who have been chosen for uncommon assignments from the noise, the chaos, and the counterfeit rhythms of the world. I need you to hear me, anointed one, because your spirit already knows this. You are not avoiding the world. Heaven is escorting you into the inner chamber of your calling. There is a reason your soul tightens in crowds, a reason your energy drains around superficial conversations, a reason the world's pace feels too loud, too shallow, too chaotic. It's because your spirit is waking up, and the places that once felt normal now feel foreign. When heaven begins to activate a hidden scroll, when destiny begins to unseal itself, your environment must shift first. Your atmosphere must be cleansed. Your senses must be sharpened. Your inner world must become louder than your outer world. I've lived through this phase myself. There were seasons when I thought something was wrong with me, when I declined invitations, when I stayed home on purpose, when I felt an invisible hand pulling me towards silence. But eventually I realized heaven was rearranging my life before it rearranged my identity. Chosen one. This is what's happening to you, and it's not accidental. When heaven calls a soul deeper, it often begins by withdrawing you from the noise that once shaped your choices. This is why the world calls you antisocial, but heaven calls you set apart. This is why others label you withdrawn, but heaven says you are being prepared. Your solitude is not empty, it is inhabited. Your silence is not void, it is saturated. Your stillness is not stagnation, it is sanctification. The world sees you sitting at home. Heaven sees you seated in training. This is why the atmosphere of your home feels different. It's why the energy of outside spaces feels heavy, distorted, or misaligned. You're not imagining this, you're discerning it. As your prophetic sensitivity increases, you begin to feel what others ignore, the currents beneath conversations, the intentions behind smiles, the spiritual residue that lingers in rooms. You feel the unseen temperature of environments, the tension behind laughter, the pressure sitting beneath chaos. This is because your spirit has grown too finely tuned to be exposed carelessly. And believe me, I understand this. I've walked into rooms and instantly felt heaviness that no one else acknowledged. I've stood in crowds and felt my spirit whisper, "This atmosphere is not for you." You learn over time that what used to be tolerable becomes unbearable when your purpose starts to awaken. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are not fragile, you are finely calibrated. A priceless instrument cannot be left in extreme conditions. A prophetic spirit cannot be thrown into environments heavy with distortion. Heaven is not hiding you. Heaven is preserving you, not because you're weak, but because your assignment is weighty. The oil on your life cannot be exposed to dilution. The revelation inside you cannot be contaminated. Some people require crowds to feel alive, but you, anointed one, are most alive when heaven begins to speak in the stillness. And now heaven is drawing you in on purpose. Do you feel that quiet ache inside you, that subtle pull towards silence, that strange sense that outside no longer fits who you are becoming? That is destiny announcing itself. That is alignment preparing itself. That is the season of separation unfolding in real time. The world thinks you're withdrawing, but your soul knows better. You're being summoned. And this is only the beginning of what heaven is about to reveal. Your solitude is not a pause, it is a passage. Your stillness is not emptiness, it is induction. Stay with me, chosen one, because in the next segment you will understand why your sensitivity, your silence and your separation are not just experiences, they are evidence. Evidence that the hidden scroll of your destiny is beginning to open. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every destiny-marked life when the world stops feeling like home. Not because you've changed in some shallow emotional way, but because heaven has recalibrated your spiritual senses. What once seemed normal now feels abrasive. What once felt harmless now feels spiritually cluttered. It is not that the world has grown louder, it is that you have grown wiser. And with every layer of awakening, your spirit becomes more sensitive to what others ignore. You begin to feel atmospheres before you enter them. You discern intentions before words are spoken. You notice the spiritual temperature of a room long before any conversation begins. This is the mark of the anointed, the capacity to perceive what others pretend not to see. And this sensitivity is not a curse, anointed one. It is confirmation. Heaven is enlarging your awareness because your assignment demands clarity. But with that clarity comes a burden, a weight that only those chosen for deep things ever truly understand. I remember when this began for me. I would walk into gatherings and instantly feel heaviness in the air, a quiet sadness people hid behind laughter, or an unspoken tension no one was brave enough to articulate. I could feel the pull of spiritual exhaustion around people who were smiling on the outside. And every time I wondered, why am I the one feeling this? Why can't I just blend in like everyone else? It took me years to understand the truth that is now unfolding in you. The more heaven activates your assignment, the more your discernment sharpens and the less noise your spirit can tolerate. This is the hidden price of prophetic sensitivity. Rooms filled with small talk exhaust you because your spirit was built for truth. Environments saturated with ego competition or pretense drain you because your soul operates at a frequency of authenticity. When heaven has marked you, even the slightest distortion feels like resistance. And when you are not meant to absorb the atmosphere of a place, your spirit will send warnings disguised as discomfort. This is why staying home feels like the only place you can breathe. Not because you're running from life, but because your home has become a sanctuary where heaven can speak without interference. The noise of the world interrupts your hearing, but solitude sharpens it. Stillness amplifies it. Silence reveals it. You have likely felt this in ways you couldn't explain: the sudden heaviness in your chest when stepping into a place not aligned with your spirit, the inner tightening when someone approaches you with hidden motives, the strange discomfort when you're around people whose hearts are divided, the invisible weight that falls on you in crowded spaces. These sensations are not weakness, they are warnings. They are your spiritual navigation system activating. And chosen one, the fact that you can feel so much is proof that heaven has entrusted you with a rare gift. You are not overwhelmed because you are broken. You are overwhelmed because you are open in ways others are not. Your soul has thinned its walls so you can hear what heaven whispers. Your heart has shed its armor so you can sense what others conceal. This level of sensitivity is the sign of someone who carries deep purpose. People who are called to shallow things cannot feel deeply. People who are called to loud platforms often have quiet spirits that must be trained in silence. And people who are anointed to shift atmospheres must first learn how to recognize them. But here is the hidden truth. What exhausts you now will empower you later. The sensitivity you're wrestling with is not meant to break you, it is meant to initiate you. Prophetic souls are shaped differently. You were never designed to walk into a room blindly. You were designed to read the atmosphere. You were never meant to tolerate surface-level interactions. You were wired for depth alignment truth. And though it feels like a burden now, heaven will refine it into mastery. The very sensitivity that makes you retreat today will become the radar that guides you toward divine connections tomorrow. The same spiritual awareness that isolates you now will become the gift that protects you in future seasons of promotion. Your sensitivity is your shield. Your discernment is your compass. Your silence is your teacher. And your solitude is your sanctuary, the place where heaven restores you after you've carried the unseen weight of others. Do not resent the way you feel, chosen one. Your sensitivity is not accidental. It is ancestral. It is prophetic. It is the evidence that the hidden scroll of your calling is opening line by line, layer by layer, moment by moment. And in the silence you've been drawn into heaven is preparing your spirit to carry things your mind has not yet imagined. Chosen one. One of the greatest misunderstandings people have about you is this: they think you move slowly because you are hesitant, uncertain, or unmotivated. But heaven and your spirit know the truth. You aren't slow, you are synchronized. Your steps don't follow the rhythm of culture, they follow the rhythm of calling. And calling has never moved at the speed of crowds. Calling moves at the speed of alignment. This is why you've always felt a quiet resistance against rushing. Why you feel inwardly conflicted when forced into timelines that don't resonate with your inner knowing. Why deadlines and pressure from others feel unnatural, even suffocating. The world worships speed. Heaven honors timing. And your destiny. Chosen one is tied to timing, not the ticking of clocks, but the turning of seasons. I remember a season in my own life when I tried to keep up with the pace of the world. I hustled, chased opportunities, said yes to everything, thinking movement equaled progress. But every time I ran ahead of my spirit, I felt a heaviness, a tightening, a spiritual drag, as if heaven was gently pulling me back, whispering, "Not yet, not this way, not this time." It wasn't until I surrendered the chase that I discovered something sacred. When heaven has appointed a moment for your life, nothing you force will last, and nothing meant for you can be taken. Anointed one, your spirit knows this. That's why you move differently. That's why you wait for that inner green light before making big decisions. That's why certain doors don't feel right, even when they look promising. Your hesitation is not fear, it is discernment. Your slowness is not procrastination, it is preservation. Heaven is more concerned with you being aligned than being fast. And little by little you've learned that speed means nothing if the direction is wrong. You've learned that applause means nothing if the decision costs your peace. You've learned that progress means nothing if it disconnects you from purpose. This is the wisdom heaven has implanted in you, and it is the reason you prefer staying home when everyone else is running about. Home is where your rhythm stabilizes. Home is where you can hear your spirit without distortion. Home is where heaven recalibrates you to the frequency of your assignment. Chosen one, listen carefully. Your spirit recognizes when divine timing is near, and it pulls you inward long before the new season shows up. This is why there are seasons where you feel suspended, not moving forward, not going backward, just sitting in a mysterious stillness. You may have wondered, why is nothing happening? Why do I feel disconnected from everything? But in heaven's language, stillness is not absence. Stillness is preparation. Stillness is a divine pause before a divine release. Think of a seed beneath the soil, unseen, unheard, untouched by the world. People walk above it, unaware that anything is happening. But deep in the darkness, the seed is breaking open, expanding, transforming, preparing for a moment when it will burst into visibility. That is you, anointed one. Your hidden seasons have not been wasted. They have been working. And if you look closely at your life, you'll notice something. Every breakthrough you've ever had was preceded by a quiet season. Every shift was preceded by stillness. Every elevation was preceded by retreat. Every revelation was preceded by silence. Heaven always prepares its chosen ones privately before revealing them publicly. This is why your seasons of isolation have been so intense. This is why the world feels distant, while your spirit feels unbelievably alert. This is why your dreams have become more vivid, your intuition sharper, your inner world more active than ever. Your soul is recognizing that a divine moment is approaching a shift in your timeline, and it refuses to let you miss it. You may not see it yet, but your spirit senses it. Something is forming in the unseen. Something is aligning behind the curtain of your circumstances. Destiny has begun to gather itself like a storm about to break open. And as heaven pieces together your next chapter, your spirit instinctively slows down your body, your mind, your schedule. Not because you are stagnant, but because something in you knows, I cannot rush what heaven is orchestrating. This is why Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 has always resonated with old souls and chosen spirits, because deep down you know every season of your life has been intentional. Nothing random, nothing wasted, nothing out of sync. Even your pauses were prophetic. Even your delays were divine. Even your redirections were protection. Even your waiting was training. Chosen one, you are not out of time. You are right on time, heaven's time. And as this timing continues to unfold, your spirit will keep pulling you inward, slowing you down, and positioning you for the exact moment when revelation becomes reality. You are not preparing for a change. You are preparing for your appointed hour. Chosen one. There is a reason the outside world feels increasingly distant to you, not hostile, not dangerous, but simply irrelevant. It is because heaven has been shifting your center of gravity. The weight of your life is no longer leaning outward, it is leaning inward. Something deep inside you has begun to recognize that the loudness of the world cannot compare to the clarity of your inner sanctuary. The silence you once took for emptiness is now the very place where you hear the whispers of destiny. And yet this silence often brings something else with it, an ache, a strange heaviness, a sense of being alone, even when you're not physically alone. But hear me, anointed one. This ache is not loneliness, it is expansion. It is the stretching of your soul as it grows into dimensions you were always meant to inhabit. For most people, being alone feels like deprivation. To you, being alone feels like truth. And that is because solitude has become your classroom, your sanctuary, your consecration chamber. When the noise stops, the disguise of the world falls away, and what is left is pure encounter, your spirit meeting its own reflection, its own calling, its own unfiltered self. This is why you are drawn back into quiet spaces again and again. Because in those spaces you are not performing, you are not adjusting, you are not negotiating your identity. In stillness, you return to the version of yourself heaven wrote before life tried to rewrite you. I remember the first time solitude became holy to me. I was sitting in a dimly lit room, no sound, no music, nothing to distract me. And in that silence, my spirit began to speak, not with words, but with knowing. A sudden clarity washed over me, an understanding that all the things I had been chasing, all the people I had been trying to impress, all the noise I had filled my days with, none of it had anything to do with my destiny. It was as if heaven reached into my chest and gently reset the compass of my life. Chosen one. This is what's happening in you. The solitude you feel is heaven's way of tuning your heart to its original frequency. And while others fear silence, you are starting to crave it. Not because you're empty, but because silence is where heaven fills you. When the outside world diminishes, the inner world awakens. And suddenly you start noticing things you were too busy to hear before, the faint stirrings of prophetic intuition, the subtle shift of spiritual winds, the inner alignment that tells you when something is right and when something is not. You begin to feel God in the quiet moments, in the still pauses between thoughts, in the soft rise and fall of your breath. And once you taste that kind of communion, chaos loses its appeal. This is why conversations feel heavier now, why gatherings feel strange, why shallow interactions drain you faster than ever. Your spirit is too awake to pretend, too sensitive to tolerate noise, too called to return to what no longer nourishes you. Solitude has become your sacred meeting place. It is here where visions are conceived, where healing begins, where your calling is incubated until the time is right. The world sees you sitting alone, but heaven sees you being shaped. In solitude, your spiritual sight is sharpened. You begin to discern deception, faster sense, sincerity quicker, and feel truth without needing explanation. You start recognizing who is aligned with your destiny and who is orbiting your life out of convenience. You begin to understand who carries peace and who disturbs it. That level of discernment is not given to everyone. It is entrusted to those who have learned how to hear heaven in the quiet. And anointed one, that is you. Your solitude has become the womb of transformation. And yes, sometimes it feels like an exile. Sometimes it feels like hiding. Sometimes it feels like your life is on pause while everyone else moves forward. But nothing could be further from the truth. You are not hiding. You are being held. You are not paused. You are being prepared. You are not behind. You are being aligned. What feels like inactivity is actually spiritual acceleration. You have been placed in a sacred cocoon. And though the world cannot see your wings forming, heaven can. There is a metamorphosis happening in you, not loud, not public, not celebrated, but holy. And when the time comes for you to emerge, the very people who questioned your solitude will be stunned by the strength, clarity, and authority you carry. For now, embrace this season. Let solitude continue its work. Heaven is not keeping you alone. Heaven is keeping you aligned. Chosen one, your home has not simply become a place you live in, it has become the atmosphere that guards your anointing. What others see as four walls, you now recognize as a sanctuary, a spiritual chamber where heaven meets earth in ways the outside world cannot comprehend. You feel it every time you walk through your door, the shift, the settling, the breath your soul didn't even realize it was holding suddenly releasing. This is because your home carries your frequency, your prayers, your tears, your healing, your becoming. It is the only environment that has adjusted itself to your evolving spirit. And truly, anointed one. Something sacred happens when a chosen vessel begins to treat their space not as a shelter, but as an altar. Your home mirrors your spirit. When you are growing, it expands with you. When you are shedding old versions of yourself, it becomes quieter. When heaven begins to reveal new assignments, your home becomes heavy with presence, heavier than any church building, heavier than any gathering. It is in this sacred space that your destiny is being sculpted. I remember when this revelation first hit me. I was cleaning my room one day, mindlessly folding clothes, shifting objects, organizing shelves. But halfway through the process, I realized something unusual. My spirit felt lighter. My thoughts felt clearer. It wasn't the cleaning that transformed the atmosphere. It was the alignment. The moment my outer environment shifted, my inner environment followed. Heaven used that moment to show me a truth I had ignored for so long. Your external space is a mirror of your internal readiness. And chosen one. The fact that you crave order, peace, stillness, or soft, intentional rituals in your home is not random. It is spiritual. These small acts, the candle you light, the music you choose, the corner you pray, in the warm drink you hold during deep reflection, are more than habits. They are rituals of alignment. They are ways your soul signals to heaven, I am listening. I am ready. Speak to me. Your home is becoming a personal temple, not because you declared it so, but because heaven appointed it so. This is why chaos in your space feels unbearable, why clutter drains you faster than noise, why the energy of people who enter your home affects you deeply. You are not being dramatic, you are being discerning. When you live at a higher spiritual frequency, everything around you must match that frequency. Anything misaligned becomes disruptive. Anything impure becomes heavy. Anything insincere becomes loud. Your home has become a filter that exposes what your heart can no longer tolerate. And through this process, heaven has been training you for something greater. Because before a chosen one governs spiritual territory outside, they must first learn to steward the territory within. Your home is your training ground. Your prayer room is your command center. Your solitude is your strategy meeting with God. Every moment spent in this sanctuary is shaping something in you: resilience, vision, clarity, spiritual maturity, prophetic sensitivity. And yet, anointed one, there is a deeper mystery here. Your home has not only been a place of preparation, it has been a place of revelation. Think of the moments when clarity suddenly struck you without warning. Times when answers appeared in your spirit without logic. Times when tears flowed for no reason, releasing what words couldn't. Times when peace settled so heavily on you that it felt like a warm blanket from the unseen. These are not coincidences, they are visitations. Because your home has become the one environment heaven can speak to you without interruption. This is why, in your darkest seasons, your home felt like the only safe place. And in your most prophetic seasons, it became the only place where you could hear heaven clearly. You are not imagining the sacredness of your space. It has been consecrated through your process. When you cried, your home held it. When you healed, your home absorbed it. When you prayed, your home echoed it. When you surrendered, your home witnessed it. And because heaven honors places of sacrifice, Your home has become a spiritual well, one that will continue to pour revelation into you as long as you honor it. Chosen one. You may not realize this yet, but the atmosphere of your home has been preparing you for a future where your spiritual authority will shift environments wherever you go. You are learning how to create peace, how to command stillness, how to host presence, how to protect your frequency, how to recognize what belongs and what must be released. All of this training began at home, and soon the same atmosphere you cultivated in secret will follow you into rooms, relationships, and assignments ordained for your next season. Your home has been your altar, but soon your life will become the altar. Chosen one. You've begun to notice something that others can't see, and honestly, they were never meant to see it. The more you grow spiritually, the less the world understands you. But this misunderstanding is not punishment, it is prophecy. Heaven has always hidden its chosen vessels in plain sight. Think of it, every person marked with divine assignment was misunderstood before they were revealed. And you, anointed one, have entered that same season of sacred misinterpretation. People look at your solitude and assume it is emptiness. They see your silence and mistake it for distance. They observe your path and interpret it as isolation, confusion, or emotional withdrawal. But they cannot perceive what heaven has concealed from them. They do not understand that silence is where you sharpen your knowing. They cannot comprehend that quiet is where your spirit stretches. They cannot see that solitude is where destiny breathes. What they call pulling away is actually heaven pulling you upward. And while they are busy labeling you, your spirit is undergoing a transformation so deep, so absolute, that even you are only beginning to understand its magnitude. I have lived through this, chosen one. I know the sting of being misunderstood. I know what it feels like when people assume you're avoiding life, when in reality you are finally stepping into it. There were seasons when I walked alone, not out of preference, but out of spiritual necessity. And in those seasons, I learned a truth that I now pass to you. Heaven does not hide the insignificant. Heaven hides the essential. If you feel concealed, it's because your calling is too weighty to be exposed prematurely. If people don't understand your silence, it's because heaven has tuned your ears to a frequency they cannot hear. If they accuse you of withdrawing, it's because they cannot recognize the difference between isolation and incubation. Let me tell you something with absolute certainty. You are not being overlooked, you are being preserved. And preservation is always misunderstood by those who live loudly but think shallowly. You carry a depth that exposes their surface. You carry a sensitivity that reveals their numbness. You carry an authenticity that challenges their illusion. They cannot meet you where you are going because they cannot follow you into the places heaven is calling you to steward. And so they criticize what they cannot comprehend. But do not resent them, chosen one. Misunderstanding is simply the echo of misalignment. People who are not assigned to your destiny will never understand your decisions. People who are not meant to walk your path will never recognize your steps. People who have not heard heaven's whisper will never validate heaven's command. The world wants explanations. Heaven wants obedience. And you have chosen to obey even when obedience looks like retreat. What others don't know is that every quiet night has been shaping you. Every moment alone has been refining you. Every time you pulled back, you were actually being pulled inward into revelation, into awakening, into alignment. You are not disconnected. You are being distilled. All that is unnecessary is falling away. All that is inauthentic is being stripped. All that is outdated is being dismantled. You are being purified into someone who can carry glory without losing themselves. Someone who can discern truth without being deceived. Someone who can hold authority without craving validation. And anointed one, here is the mystery few ever understand. The very people who misunderstand you today will one day come seeking the peace you carry. They will notice the stillness in your presence. They will feel the weight of your wisdom. They will be drawn to the clarity in your voice. Your solitude has made you luminous in ways they cannot yet perceive. You are becoming someone whose life speaks louder than explanations ever could. You won't need to prove yourself. Your transformation will do the talking. You won't need to justify your path. Your fruit will make it undeniable, and you won't need to defend your calling. Heaven has already defended it by hiding you. So let them misunderstand, chosen one. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them project. You were not crafted for their understanding. You were crafted for God's purposes. And the ones who are truly meant to walk with you, those rare souls, heaven has aligned with your frequency. They will not ask you to shrink, explain, or dilute yourself. They will recognize you. They will resonate with you. They will rise to meet you where you are. Until then, protect your peace, guard your silence, honor your solitude. Because what is forming inside you right now is not small. It is a spiritual force preparing to reveal the truest version of who you are. Chosen one, you may not fully realize it yet, but everything you've been feeling in this season, every pull toward silence, every withdrawal from noise, every moment where the world feels too much, has been shaping you for a revelation that is beginning to unfold. Not outside of you, but within you. What you're experiencing is not just spiritual sensitivity, it is spiritual birthing, a becoming, a rising, a remembering. Your spirit is waking up to an identity you carried long before your body ever entered the world. And with this awakening comes something profound, the merging of who you were, who you are, and who heaven destined you to become. In this merging, you start to notice subtle shifts, ways you respond differently, ways you see differently, ways you sense differently. Old patterns no longer fit. Old conversations drain you quicker than before. Old fears feel strangely powerless. It's as if the old version of you has become a faded echo, and a new version is stepping forward quietly, steadily, undeniably. This is not imagination. This is activation. The hidden scroll of your identity is being unsealed line by line, memory by memory, revelation by revelation. Anointed one, you are stepping into your true self. Not the self shaped by expectations. Not the self pressed by people's opinions. Not the self molded by survival, but the self heaven wrote before time began. And this rebirth always begins in solitude, because solitude strips away the voices that once drowned out your own. In the silence, you begin to hear what you couldn't hear before, your instincts, sharpening your inner wisdom, resurfacing your spiritual authority, growing roots. You start recognizing the difference between what you desire and what your spirit desires. Between what your mind wants and what your destiny requires. Between what feels comfortable and what feels true. And truth, chosen one, always calls you deeper. I remember moments when I too felt this shift happening inside me. I didn't announce it. I couldn't explain it. I wasn't even sure what to call it. But I knew without words that something ancient was waking up, something eternal. It felt like remembering who I was before life tried to make me forget. You're feeling that too, aren't you? That sense that you are not becoming someone new, but returning to someone original, someone purer, someone wiser, someone more aligned, someone who moves differently because they see differently, This is the stage where heaven rewrites your reflexes, where your discernment becomes instinctual, where your boundaries become automatic, where your heart becomes more selective. You stop giving energy to what drains you. You stop chasing what was never meant for you. You stop apologizing for your sensitivity and start honoring it as the compass it has always been. And slowly, without effort, your entire identity begins to shift from reaction to intention, from survival to purpose, from confusion to clarity. Heaven does not awaken a chosen one just to make them feel different. Heaven awakens a chosen one to make them ready, ready for assignments that require clarity, ready for connections that require discernment, ready for environments that require authority, ready for decisions that require courage, ready for spiritual battles that require maturity. This is why your old self is dissolving. You cannot carry an old identity into a new destiny. You cannot bring old beliefs into new territory. You cannot use old strategies in new seasons. The version of you that stayed silent out of fear is being replaced by a version that speaks from truth. The version of you that avoided conflict is being replaced by a version that knows when to stand firm. The version of you that doubted everything is being replaced by a version that discerns everything. This is why you've felt different lately, not lost, not unstable, just different. Because you are no longer operating as the person the world taught you to be. You are operating as the person heaven designed you to be. And that version of you cannot blend in. That version of you cannot shrink. That version of you cannot go back. You are outgrowing spaces that were never meant to hold you. You are shedding roles that were never aligned with you. You are releasing identities built on survival fear or expectation. Chosen one. You are stepping into the identity that has been waiting for you since before your first breath. This is why staying home feels essential. It's not about preference, it's about metamorphosis. Caterpillars do not transform in crowds, they cocoon in isolation. And you, Anointed One, have entered your cocoon season. Soon the version of you that emerges will carry a power, clarity, and spiritual authority that no one, not even you, has seen before. You are not changing, you are unveiling. Chosen One. Now we must go deeper into a truth few ever recognize in themselves. Your life has been moving through a divine pattern of separation, refinement, and preparation, and your spirit knows it, even when your mind struggles to articulate it. This is why certain people have faded from your life without conflict. This is why certain environments no longer fit. This is why invitations you once would have accepted now feel strangely out of alignment. Heaven has been editing your connections long before you realized a shift was happening. Not because you are superior to others, but because your destiny cannot afford dilution. When heaven is preparing an anointed one, the first thing it does is purify the circle around them. The second is purify the atmosphere within them. And the third is purify the path before them. You have been walking through all three simultaneously, even if you didn't notice it until now. Think back for a moment. There were people you once felt deeply attached to, relationships you tried hard to maintain, connections you believed were lifelong. Yet suddenly they grew distant, not with anger, not with betrayal, just distance. The conversations became harder, the energy felt heavier, the bond weakened without explanation. At first you may have blamed yourself, but eventually something in your spirit whispered the truth. Not everyone can walk with you into where you are going. You see, Chosen One elevation requires elimination, not as punishment, but as protection. The higher your calling, the smaller your circle becomes. You are not losing people, you are losing distractions. You are not losing relationships, you are losing residue. And yes, I know it can feel painful. I've felt the sting myself. There were seasons when I begged God to keep certain people in my life, not because they were good for my spirit, but because they were familiar. But heaven is not moved by comfort. Heaven is moved by purpose. And sometimes the greatest blessing heaven can give you is the removal of what would have hindered your ascent. Anointed one, let this settle in your spirit. You didn't outgrow people, your destiny outgrew environments. And with every elevation comes a shedding. You are shedding outdated identities, shedding emotional entanglements, shedding low-frequency attachments, shedding versions of yourself that could not survive the future God has written for you. This is why staying home feels so right in this season. Your spirit refuses to be surrounded by people who don't speak your language anymore. Your soul refuses to sit in rooms where your authenticity feels like a burden. Your energy refuses to shrink to fit places you've transcended. Home is the only place where your spirit doesn't need armor. It is the only place where your frequency is not questioned. It is the only place where the divine work unfolding inside you is uninterrupted. And while people may wonder why you don't feel like going out, they cannot see what heaven sees you are in a season of spiritual reconstruction. Imagine a house undergoing renovation, walls stripped, floors pulled up, wires exposed, dust everywhere. Would visitors be invited in during that process? Of course not. Not because they are bad people, but because the work is too delicate to be disturbed. Chosen, one that is you. You are under construction, holy construction. The walls of old identities are being torn down. The floors of old habits are being replaced. The wiring of your beliefs is being upgraded. Heaven is redoing the blueprint of your life from the inside out. And while this work is happening, you cannot entertain every voice. You cannot expose your spirit to every atmosphere. You cannot give your time to every request. You cannot stretch yourself to fit what you've already surpassed. Reconstruction requires restriction, and restriction births refinement. Do not resent the shrinking of your world right now. Your world is not shrinking, it is deepening. You are not becoming isolated, you are becoming concentrated. When God refines gold, He reduces it before He expands it. When heaven refines a chosen soul, it pulls them inward before sending them outward. This is the season where heaven ensures nothing unnecessary remains attached to you. Look at your life closely. Who stayed without being asked? Who drifted without being pushed? Who aligned without being convinced? Who fell away without any conflict? These are signs. Heaven has been cleaning your path, not tearing your life apart. And here is the most beautiful part. When the refinement is done, when the construction is complete, when the cocoon opens, the people meant for your future will recognize you instantly. They will not be intimidated by your depth. They will not misunderstand your silence. They will not resist your awakening. They will rise to your frequency because they were crafted for it. Until that moment comes, trust the separation, trust the solitude, trust the sanctification of your path. Heaven is not taking things away from you. Heaven is clearing the runway for your becoming. Chosen one. There is a reason your inner world has been louder than ever. Your emotions, thoughts, and spiritual senses have all been heightened, not as a sign of instability, but as evidence that heaven is bringing you into a deeper dimension of self-awareness, spiritual maturity, and divine identity. You're not feeling too much. You're finally feeling correctly. And with this heightened awareness comes the most profound shift of all. You have begun to recognize your own power. Not power in the worldly sense, not dominance, ego, or force, but the quiet, unshakable spiritual authority that emerges when someone finally steps into who they were created to be. This authority isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It flows naturally from alignment. It radiates from within. And lately, Anointed One, your presence has begun to change rooms, even when you say nothing. You've likely noticed it the way people respond differently to you now. Some become gentler in your presence. Some become intimidated. Some become defensive. Others open up without knowing why. All of this is happening because your energy is no longer neutral. Your spirit is no longer dimmed. You carry weight. You carry presence. You carry revelation. And revelation always exposes what is real and what is false. This is why people who once felt comfortable around you now seem uneasy. You haven't changed, they have. Your frequency is rising, and anything that is not aligned is being revealed. Even if you try to shrink, the light around you refuses to dim. You carry a spiritual authority that cannot be hidden, not anymore. But you may be wondering, why now? Why is this all happening at once? Because heaven has decided it is time. Time for your voice to strengthen. Time for your discernment to sharpen. Time for your confidence to rise. Time for you to stop surviving and start walking in purpose. And with this shift comes another layer of awakening. You are beginning to understand yourself in ways you never have before. You're remembering the times you felt out of place and realizing it was because you were never meant to blend in. You're reinterpreting your childhood sensitivities, your intuitive moments, your emotional depth, not as weaknesses, but as early signs of the calling you carry now. You're seeing your patterns, your triggers, your desires, your fears with clearer eyes. You no longer tolerate what harms your spirit. You no longer ignore what drains you. You no longer suppress what your soul tries to reveal. You are not becoming emotional, you are becoming honest. You are not becoming distant, you are becoming aware. You are not becoming detached, you are becoming aligned. This is the stage where the veil begins to lift fully, where the false self dissolves, where the authentic self emerges with clarity and power. But with awakening comes another challenge, one almost every chosen vessel endures. You begin to outgrow environments faster than you can explain it. Everything in you shifts. The places you used to tolerate now feel spiritually suffocating. The people you once entertained now feel energetically chaotic. The habits you once indulged now feel out of alignment. You're not being dramatic, you're evolving. Your spirit refuses to stay where your destiny cannot grow. This is why you don't feel like going out anymore. It's not anxiety, it's not boredom, it's not rejection of the world. It is your spirit refusing to re-enter places that cannot hold your calling. You are becoming too aware to remain overstimulated, too spiritually tuned to return to ignorance, too aligned to return to fragmentation. You're becoming someone who is whole, and wholeness always disrupts the version of you the world was comfortable with. And here is the most powerful part of this transformation. You are learning how to trust yourself. You are learning to trust your intuition again, to trust your boundaries, to trust your discernment, to trust your inner yes and your inner no. To trust that the voice rising inside you is not fear, it is guidance, it is heaven, it is destiny. Somewhere along the way, the world convinced you to doubt yourself. But the Creator never asked you to doubt the wisdom placed inside of you. Your intuition is not random, it is inherited, it is sacred, it is woven into the blueprint of your calling. And now that your spirit is awakening, your intuition is growing stronger. Decisions that once felt heavy now feel clear. Relationships that once felt confusing now feel defined. Paths that once seemed uncertain now feel illuminated. You're not just moving through life, you're navigating it with a divine map written inside your chest. The more you trust yourself, the more heaven can trust you with deeper revelation. The more you listen inward, the more clearly you'll hear the whispers of destiny. And as this trust strengthens, Anointed One, your entire world begins to rearrange around your rising identity. You are not just discovering who you are reclaiming who you've always been. Chosen One, as this awakening deepens, something remarkable begins to unfold within you. Your relationship with the unseen shifts. You no longer move through life solely guided by what your eyes perceive. Instead, you walk by the quiet urgings of your spirit, by the divine inner compass, heaven calibrated long before you understood its purpose. This is the phase where you begin to recognize that nothing around you has been random. Every stirring, every discomfort, every sudden desire for solitude was preparation for a higher form of discernment. And now you are entering the dimension where you do not merely sense spiritual realities, you begin to interpret them. Your intuition becomes sharper, your inner warnings become louder, your dreams become more symbolic, more vivid, more layered. Your awareness of energy, people's motives, hidden intentions, spiritual atmospheres intensifies. You are no longer walking blindly into situations. Your spirit sees before your body arrives. This kind of inner vision is not common. It is bestowed. It is inherited. It is assigned to those heaven trusts with deeper responsibility. And you, Anointed One, have shown heaven that you can be trusted. Think about it. How many times in your life did you feel something was off, even when everything looked fine? How many moments did you sense a shift before anyone else noticed? How many times did your inner voice whisper warnings or nudges that later proved true? This is not coincidence. It is calling. It is spiritual intelligence awakening. And with this awakening comes the realization that your sensitivity is not simply emotional, it is prophetic. You don't just feel what's happening, you feel what's forming. You sense endings before they occur. You sense beginnings before they manifest. You sense danger before it appears. You sense alignment before it unfolds. This is why the world's noise has become unbearable to you. Not because you are weak, but because you are growing too spiritually calibrated to tolerate environments that drown out revelation. Your home became your sanctuary because it is the only place your spirit can breathe without interference. And in that sanctuary, heaven has been teaching you the language of your own soul. Now you understand why you have always been different, why crowds overwhelmed you, why noise felt invasive, why superficial conversations left you empty. You were never built to live outwardly. You were designed to live inwardly, spiritually, intuitively. The world celebrates those who speak loudly, but heaven elevates those who hear clearly. And clarity has now become your inheritance. But with clarity comes another profound shift. You begin to detach from illusions. You start seeing people for who they are not, who you hoped they would be. You start recognizing relationships built on convenience rather than covenant. You start noticing who values your presence and who benefits from your silence. You start discerning who is aligned with your spirit and who is attached to your old identity. Detachment is not coldness, it is liberation. When heaven reveals truth, old attachments lose their power. You cannot cling to what your spirit has already released. And though this detachment can feel lonely, Chosen One, it is necessary because your destiny cannot be entangled with people who were assigned to past versions of you. As illusions fall away, something else rises your inner authority. You begin to speak less, but mean more. You begin to choose fewer battles because you finally understand which ones matter. You begin to move slower, but with more purpose. You begin to say no without guilt, yes without fear, and I'm done without regret. This is maturity, not emotional maturity, spiritual maturity. And in this maturity, you recognize something sacred. Your energy is holy. Not everyone should have access to it. Not every place deserves it. Not every conversation can hold it. Not every connection can honor it. You begin to understand that your presence is not ordinary. When you walk into a room, you shift the atmosphere sometimes without speaking. People feel seen or exposed or comforted or convicted in your presence because you carry the weight of your becoming. And this realization brings you to a deeper truth. You are not meant to be everywhere. You are meant to be assigned, placed with intention, sent with purpose, positioned with precision. This is why heaven closed doors you wanted open. This is why heaven removed people you tried to keep. This is why heaven rerouted paths you thought were guaranteed. You are being aligned for divine appointments, not random encounters. And in this alignment, you will notice another transformation. Your desires are changing. You no longer crave what once satisfied you. You no longer pursue what once validated you. You no longer desire to fit where you had to shrink. You crave depth, truth, presence, purpose. You desire environments that nourish your soul. You hunger for conversations that sharpen your spirit. You long for silence that expands you. This isn't you becoming picky. This is you becoming aligned. Chosen one. Heaven is reshaping you from the inside out. And the deeper this transformation goes, the more you will start to understand your destiny is too sacred for the ordinary. Your spirit is too awakened for the shallow, and your journey is too divine for the distracted. Chosen one. As your spirit elevates into this higher awareness, you begin to feel a shift in how you relate to purpose itself. This is the part of your journey where you stop searching for meaning outside of yourself and start recognizing that the meaning has always been inside you, waiting, resting, unfolding in divine timing. And now, in this sacred season of isolation and awakening, purpose is no longer a distant concept. It is becoming a living presence. You can feel it pressing against the walls of your spirit, stretching you, summoning you, calling you into greater alignment. This is the season when the question changes from "What am I supposed to do?" to "What am I being shaped into?" Because before heaven ever gives an instruction, it forms a vessel. Before God ever assigns a mission, He constructs an identity capable of carrying that mission. And the identity forming inside you now is not the version of you that life molded, it is the version heaven wrote. You may have noticed that your desires are shifting in ways that don't make logical sense. Things you once chased no longer move you. Goals that once excited you now feel empty. People you once wanted approval from no longer hold power over you. This is not loss, this is calibration. You are shedding desires that were never yours to begin with. You are releasing ambitions rooted in survival, validation, or expectation. You are remembering the blueprint you carried before the world told you who you were supposed to be. And in that remembering, something profound happens. You begin to feel drawn toward assignments you cannot yet name. You feel the urge to prepare for something unseen. You feel called to strengthen yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally, though you don't know why. You feel the inner pull to release things even before understanding what will replace them. This is the mark of a soul entering prophetic readiness. Heaven is orchestrating a shift, and your spirit senses the stirring long before your reality catches up. It's like the quiet before dawn, the moment when the sky is still dark, but every part of creation knows light is on its way. You are in that sacred in-between. And because of that chosen one, you may have moments where you feel suspended, untethered, disconnected from old paths, but not yet anchored to new ones. This is the birth canal of destiny, a place where heaven repositions you, redefines you, and readies you. In this place, identity and assignment begin to merge. The deeper you go into your authentic self, the clearer your purpose becomes. Not because someone explained it to you, but because your spirit begins to remember it. You start feeling drawn to things that nurture your spirit: art, writing, speaking, studying, creating, healing, teaching, mentoring, leading, or simply being present in ways that shift atmospheres. Maybe you don't have the language for it yet, but something in you says, "This is who I am becoming." That whisper is not imagination. It is the echo of your scroll. And yet, with purpose awakening, another challenge emerges. You begin to realize that living with destiny requires letting go of the life built on convenience. Purpose is not comfortable. It demands clarity, boundaries, sacrifice, and conviction. It demands choosing alignment over appearance. It demands choosing truth over tradition. It demands choosing what nurtures your calling over what numbs your spirit. And though this path may feel narrow, it is the only path that leads you into the fullness of who you are meant to become. I remember walking through this stage myself, feeling the internal stirrings of purpose without any external instruction. I didn't have a map. I didn't have clarity. All I had was an inner pull that refused to quiet down. I felt as if heaven was rewiring me one revelation at a time. My habits changed, my desires changed, my friendships changed, my priorities shifted, and slowly the veil lifted enough for me to see that these shifts weren't random, they were preparation. And that is exactly what is happening to you now, Anointed One. Purpose is not coming, it is arriving, not in a loud announcement, but in the subtle rearranging of your spirit. You are being aligned with people you haven't met yet, rooms you haven't entered yet, assignments you haven't imagined yet, miracles that haven't unfolded yet. And the preparation may feel isolating, but it is divine. Heaven is stripping away what cannot go with you. Heaven is strengthening what must rise within you. Heaven is tuning your heart to the frequency of your next season. Chosen One, you are not waiting, you are becoming, and purpose is moving toward you with the same intensity that you are moving toward it. Chosen One. Now you stand at the threshold of a truth so profound that once it settles into your spirit, nothing about your life will ever feel accidental again. Everything you have walked through, every moment of solitude, every spiritual awakening, every separation, every quiet night where your soul felt stretched beyond understanding, has been leading you to this exact moment in your becoming. This is the moment where you realize that what you thought was isolation was actually initiation. What you thought was stillness was actually activation. What you thought was emptiness was actually God making room for a greater fullness than you've ever known. The season you're in now is not the closing of a chapter. It is the unlocking of a scroll written with your name, your calling, your identity, your authority, your divine appointments, your spiritual territory. And piece by piece, heaven has been unsealing that scroll in silence, because some revelations can only be birthed in stillness. You were never meant to discover your destiny in noise. You were designed to receive it in the whisper. And now the whisper has grown louder. It echoes in your spirit, not with fear, but with certainty. You are ready. You may not feel ready in your mind. You may not feel prepared in the ways the world measures readiness. But destiny has never been given to the most confident. It has always been given to the most surrendered. And your surrender. Chosen One has been your silent yes. You said yes every time you withdrew when your soul felt overwhelmed. You said yes every time you listened to your intuition instead of the crowd. You said yes every time you chose peace over pressure, truth over performance, alignment over approval. You said yes every time you followed the inner pull you couldn't explain. Heaven saw every yes, even the ones you didn't know you were giving, and now heaven responds. This is why your spirit has felt heavier and lighter at the same time. Heavier because of the responsibility awakening in you, lighter because of the freedom rising within you. This is why your dreams have been more vivid, why your discernment has become sharper, why your emotions have been intense but strangely purposeful, why your solitude feels sacred instead of lonely. These are signs, clear signs, that your destiny has shifted from preparation to activation. You are no longer waiting for your calling to appear. You are stepping into it with every breath, every choice, every boundary, every awakening. And as this shift accelerates, something remarkable begins to happen inside you. Your spirit starts to recognize itself. You start to see glimpses of the person heaven always knew you could become, the person shaped by revelation rather than fear, purpose rather than pressure, wisdom rather than wounds. You notice your posture changing, your voice strengthening, your presence deepening. You begin carrying yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with awareness. You are no longer trying to fit into the world. You are learning to walk as someone who was always meant to stand out. The world once intimidated you. Now it no longer defines you. The noise once overwhelmed you. Now you hear beneath it. The expectations once controlled you. Now they fall away like dust. This is what it feels like to enter spiritual maturity. This is what it feels like to walk as someone heaven has trained in silence and revealed in time. And chosen one, as powerful as the inner transformation has been, the outer transformation is coming next. You will begin stepping into opportunities that align perfectly with your spirit. You will attract people who see you clearly because they operate on your frequency. You will find yourself in environments that feel ordained rather than forced. You will speak words that carry weight because they flow from a deeper source. You will make decisions with clarity that surprises even you, and life itself will begin responding to the authority you carry. This is the part of the journey where destiny stops being something you chase and becomes something that rises to meet you. You have been hidden, you have been shaped, you have been refined, and now slowly but undeniably you are being revealed. Do not rush this emergence. Do not shrink from it. Do not question it. Walk in it. Breathe in it. Trust it. Because every layer of your becoming has prepared you for the unveiling that is now unfolding. Soon the world will not just see you, they will recognize you. They will feel the depth of your journey in your presence, the wisdom of your solitude in your voice, the authority of your calling in your decisions. You will not need to announce who you are. Heaven has already done that, and the ones meant for your path will find you by the frequency you now carry. Chosen one. You are not stepping into a new season. You are stepping into your true self. Your appointed hour has begun. Chosen one, this is your kairos hour. The hidden scroll of your life is opening, and heaven's timing is resting upon you like a mantle. Your solitude has shaped you, your silence has anointed you, and now your spirit stands at the threshold of revelation. Walk forward with confidence, for what was sealed is now being unveiled. May clarity surround you, may alignment steady you, and may the fire within you guide every step. If this word echoed in your spirit, share it, speak it, or simply comment, "I am rising." Anointed one, go in strength, your appointed time has begun.